Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Grandstream. Today's host is Phil Bowers. He is their Senior Marketing Manager. He'll be presenting today, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit them in the question box, and I'll ask them to Phil at the end of today's presentation. I'm finished for now. Go ahead, Phil. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for setting this up as always, Julie, and thanks for having me. Welcome and Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everybody has had a great holiday and is enjoying the beginning of the year. So as Julie mentioned, my name is Phil Bowers. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager here at Grandstream. Those of you that have joined these webinars before, I'm sure you've heard me. I've pretty much been working with Microcom for the past couple of years to run these webinars. So hopefully you're getting used to the familiar voice and tone and whatnot. So today's topic is a little different. Probably the first time that we've done a webinar the way that we're going to try to run through it today for the next half hour. Usually we kind of pick one or two topics or products and really kind of go very in depth on those. Today we're actually in a somewhat aggressive fashion. I'm going to attempt to cover real quickly and real briefly every single product that Microcom offer, every single Grandstream product that Microcom offers through their web shop. You'll see as we go through it, it'll be in kind of a specific fashion in terms of what order I'm going through the product categories. It's not, the point of today is not to get real in depth about anything, but just to kind of highlight everything, give you a good sense of everything and the full solution package that we're able to offer here at Grandstream. And I'll highlight a couple of things that really stand out to me as we go. I have a couple of notes here. Well, also, the other exciting thing about today is as I go through and specifically at the end, I'll highlight some of the new products you're going to see from us throughout 2019. You're going to see a lot of new products from Grandstream in 2019. I would say a lot of those new products kind of will focus on improving our higher end, our more top tier market offerings in terms of some new IP phones, video phones, DECT phones, whatnot. So without further ado, since we got a lot to get through, let's just jump right into it here. All right, so going to start off here with our IP desktop phones. Our IP phones, specifically our GXP IP phones, are primarily what we're known for. It's certainly a big portion of our business, and it is really how Grandstream got to be Grandstream. So you see the kind of in terms of your we'll call this your average traditional worker desktop IP phone. You'll see later some of the Android, DECT, and other mobility phones we have. So these are desktop IP phones, and the way that I like to say it is we basically have the ideal option for every type of user, whether you need a more basic device, in which case you're looking for just simple, easy to use IP phones that just need access to VoIP. The GXP 1600 series that we offer is ideal for that. A mid-range phone, which offers more of a sleek, modern, kind of high-end design, but with features and capacity that are more common with a mid-range IP phone. Really great options for businesses that are looking for a really great-looking phone with some mid-range features that can grow with them as their business expands. And then the high end of our desktop IP phones, the 2100 series, really, as you see there, get more done, handle more calls. Anyone that's really on the phone a lot, that handles a lot of calls, that needs that high-end functionality, the 2100 series is what you're going to want. So the next couple of slides, I'm just going to throw up some more or less comparison charts so you can kind of get a glimpse of each specific IP phone series that I just talked about. Here's the 1600s again. These are more basic IP phones. The models pretty much differentiate here based off of the lines, PoE, and in the case of the 1628 and the 1630, those actually add gigabit ports. So the 1610 and 1615 are basic non-backlit one-line phones. The 1615 will give you PoE. That's the difference there. The 1620 and the 1625 backlit two-line phones. The difference between both of those is the 25 will give you PoE, the 20 won't. The 1628 and the 1630, we call those more higher-end basic IP phones. They actually both offer gigabit ports, and as you can see in the picture somewhat there, have dedicated BLF keys right there on the right of the phone. I believe each one of them has 8. So those are The 1600 series, more basic 1, 2, or 3 line IP phones. Some are backlit, some aren't. Some offer you PoE, some don't. 28 and 30 are going to give you gigabit ports. So to kind of now move up to the 1700 series, as you see the lines increase here, we have a 1760, which is going to give you 6 lines. 1780 and 1782 will both give you 8 lines. More SIP account support as well from the 1600s. Again, mid-range capacity here, 3 SIP accounts or 4 SIP accounts. And then for the most part, aside from the rest of it, you're going to get, as it mentions, the 1782 gives you gigabit ports. The 1760 and the 1780 are both going to give you your standard 10, 100 megabit per second ports. So again, a little bit of a higher end look. Mid-range capacity in terms of lines and SIP accounts. Great for smaller businesses or businesses just getting started, to give them a great, really solid looking phone that can really grow with them as they go. And HD audio is supported on all of our devices, as I should mention. Actually, one thing also to point out here, the 1700s will give you, as you see on the bottom, digitally programmable BLF keys. It allows you to turn the soft keys in the actual screen of the phone, basically to double the functionality of that, to use those soft keys as also BLF keys with 4 different pages for each model, giving you either 24 or 32. So that's the mid-range desktop IP phones. Let's move up here to the 2100 series. Hopefully this didn't freeze on me. Bear with me here for just 1 second. I apologize. All right, apologize for that. Let me just pop back into where I was here. Play from start. So the 21, we just went over the 16 and the 1700 series. The 2100 series, which you see right here, again, these are more of our high-end phones. Look at the lines across the top. Goes all the way up to 12 lines. Support for all the way up to 6 different SIP accounts, 4 or 5-way conferencing. All of these devices, the whole 2100 series is a full color screen operating system. Screens of various different sizes. All of these models give you gigabit ports, so highest support for the highest possible network speed up to 1000 megabit per second. The other thing that I'll call out here is Bluetooth. All of these devices have built-in Bluetooth, which allows you to sync Bluetooth devices with it, whether that be a Bluetooth headset or whether that be a Bluetooth-enabled smartphone, which pretty much obviously they all have Bluetooth anymore. Enables you to sync your contact book and calendars, transfer calls back and forth between these devices and a Bluetooth device right through Bluetooth. So again, these are more high-end. These are the high end of our desktop IP phone, color screen operating system, support for a lot of different lines. The 2170 and the 2140, as you'll see on the next screen, and as you see down there at the bottom, work with our extension module, which I'll show you in just a moment. The Bluetooth functionality is definitely a great feature to point out as well. So again, these are the 2100 series, the more high-end options within our desktop IP phone portfolio. And to kind of wrap up the desktop IP phone section, the GXP 2200 extension module, which is available from Microcom. This is our LCD extension module. You can use, this device will work with our GXP 2140, the GXP 2170, and our GXV 3240, which is a video phone. I'll show you in just a second. Each one of those devices or phones will work with up to 4 of these extension modules, as you see in the picture down there at the bottom. Each module gives you 40 contacts. It's 20 contacts per page with 2 pages per device. So if you were to use all 4 on those models, that's 160 extra BLF speed dial contacts by integrating our GXP 2200 extension module with the 3 phones that it is compatible with. All right, so again, kind of going through this really fast. Any questions that you guys have on any of this stuff, feel free to write it down and we can definitely go through it at the end. As you can see, I'm admitting we're going through this stuff pretty fast. Just kind of want to give a good high level overview of everything and point out from my end some of the major things. So now we're getting into our Android IP video phones, and our Android IP video phones are, in my opinion, some of the most unique phones on the SIP marketplace or the VoIP marketplace anywhere in the world. We have independent research from Frost & Sullivan, which shows that Grandstream is actually the second leading provider, manufacturer, and seller of IP video phones in the world. And kind of our unique angle on them, as you'll see with our conferencing equipment later, they all run Android, and it's not some closed down, locked version of Android like you get with other manufacturers where they just kind of build the look and feel of the user interface, but don't allow you to, access the Google Play Store or sync your Google accounts. We allow you to do all of that. And the way that I like to kind of describe these devices, you see the 3370 here on the screen. This is the newest one that we released last year. There are 3 current models within the series, which I'm actually going to show you here on the next slide. Looks like I forgot to fill in the far right. The far right is the GXV 3370. So the way that I like to describe all of these models, our Android IP phones, is they're a 3-in-1 device. It gives you the full functionality of an IP phone, combined with the full functionality of an open Android tablet, combined with a video collaboration solution. So gives you the full functionality of IP phone. It gives you everything that you could want to do within the Android ecosystem. And it also obviously has a camera built into it and allows you to hold, whether it be Android or SIP video calls with other users or with other applications running on Android devices. I realize now that I'm looking at this, looks like a couple of things I forgot to come back and fill in. The 3240 and the 3275 both give you 6 lines. The 3370 gives you 16 lines. So that's kind of a great enhancement there. 6 SIP accounts on the 3240, 3275, 16 on the 3370, which is all the way on the right there, which is missing its label. The main difference really between the 3370 and both of the 3200 series models is the Android version that it offers. Whereas do I have this here on this slide? Yeah, so the 3240, 3275 run Android 4.2. Those devices have been out for a couple of years. The 3370, which just came out, we're able to put in a more enhanced chip into it, so it's able to run Android 7.0. 3240 is going to give you a 4.3-inch touchscreen. All of these devices have touchscreens, whereas the 3370, which I've moved back to here, is a 7-inch touchscreen. It's got 5 keys below it, but the rest of it is relying on the touchscreen of the phone. Really is more or less an Android tablet with a phone and a camera connected to it. Anything else here that I missed? All of these devices, and I'll come back to this later, all of our Android IP phones have Wi-Fi support, which is great if you're building Wi-Fi voice solutions, which we'll come back to. All of them have PoE, just like our high-end desktop phones. All of these Android video phones are going to give you built-in Bluetooth as well to sync Bluetooth headsets or transfer calls through Bluetooth. And as I mentioned earlier, the best thing about these devices really is the Android nature that they offer. We give you full access to Android. We don't lock it down, so you can download any app in the Google Play Store. You can sync your Google Calendar, your Google Voice, your Gmail account, whatnot, all on this device. And it looks like, bear with me here for just a second. I apologize. I'm not sure why. Here we go. Not sure why my computer has been having these issues, but let me jump back into it. All right. So yeah, quick overview there of our GXV series of Android IP phones. Looks like now it picked up the stuff that was supposed to be in that other column for the 3370. And kind of the last thing I'll leave you with here is we are currently working on, it's a kind of a new product sneak peek here. We're working on a new device that will be basically the high end of this series. It's going to be called the GXV 3380. It is most likely going to be released in the May-June kind of mid-year time frame. We'll release it for beta testing in a couple of months. probably in February or March. And the big thing with that device is it will have an 8-inch touchscreen, so an even bigger touchscreen than any of these devices, and will run Android 8.0, which is going to be a big thing as well. All right, so IP PBXs. We're transferring away now from IP phones and kind of going to our, what I like to call the anchor of Grandstream solutions, our UCM series of IP PBXs. These devices, we released these in May or June of 2013. So they have been on the market amazingly for just about 5.5 years at this point. And they, in that time, have grown to become one of the most popular on-premise IP PBXs in the world. There are two different models, or two different series within the UCM series. See the 6200 series here, 6510 here. I'll break these down for you in a second. The easy way to think about it is the 6200 is more of your small to medium-sized business-focused device, because it can give you up to most models for the 6200, and I'll again break this down for you in a second, will give you 500 users. There is one model in the 6200 that gives you up to 800 users, whereas the 6510 will support up to 2000. Kind of the thing that make all of our UCM series really stand out and what's allowed it to be so successful is that they don't require any licensing fees. We give you every feature and functionality we can give you for the one-time upfront purchase price, and that includes all future upgrades. And for those of you that may have been following us for the last couple of years, we are constantly adding features and functionalities to this. One of the big things we've been focusing on with our UCM is integration with third-party services such as CRM platforms, customer relationship management, or hospitality management programs as well. Variety of other desktop software or specific vertical software that we've been integrating as well. Even have added things like WebRTC support, and I could go on about the features we've added to these devices in the last couple of years. So the UCM series, the great thing about it, other than I mentioned the no licensing fees, it gives you all UC features. It is not just a voice server. It is a truly unified communications manager, which is what that UCM acronym stands for. Not to toot my own horn, but that was actually something that I came up with, the UCM acronym, specifically to promote the fact that these are not just voice devices, but they are truly unified communication managers. Full support for voice, video, data, mobility built right into it. These devices all support multiple office peering, future upgrades at any point in time. The upgrades are always free, whether they be firmware or software upgrades. So that's kind of a high-level overview of the UCM series of IP PBXs. To kind of break each specific series for you, the 6200, which you see here, is going to give you 2, 4, or 8 FXO ports. These are smaller, more manageable devices. Well, so actually, now that I think about that, the 6510 is the same size as the 6208. So they're all about, if you've ever seen a Grandstream gateway, they're the exact same box and same size as a Grandstream 4200 series gateway, which I have a picture for you later on. So the 6200 series, as I mentioned, more targeted at, really ideal for small to medium-sized businesses. They are, let me actually go back, 4 models here. 6202 gives you 2 FXO ports. 6204 gives you 4, and 6208 gives you 8. So that kind of, the last number in the model tells you how many FXO ports it has. The dual gigabit ports, integrated PoE, USB and SD card slots for expandable memory. 0 configuration, a great thing that we offer, and I'll give you this is on all UCM series models, and a great reason to deploy our UCM series with Grandstream endpoints, because we have what we call 0 config built right into these devices. It allows our UCM to auto-discover on its own any Grandstream endpoint on the same network as that UCM, and then to automatically configure them through a process we call 0 config. That can be done by you providing a set of general rules, extension ranges, whatnot, or you can allow the UCM to basically do it all for you. So the difference between the other differences, other than the ports between the 36200 series models, you see there the concurrent calls 30, 45, or 100 depending on the model. The 6202 and 04 support up to 500 users, and the 6208 supports up to 100 users. And when I say users, basically means SIP endpoints or extensions, whichever you like to use. So that's the 6200 series. To kind of wrap up our UCM discussion, if you need a device that supports E1, T1, or J1 ports, or you need support for up to 2,000 users or endpoints, you want the 6510, and those are the two main differences there. Gives you E1, T1, J1 interface and ports built right in, as well as support for up to 2,000 endpoints and users. Everything else, the interface, the features and functionalities that it offers, are exactly the same as the 6200 series. This is basically the higher capacity UCM model. And to really wrap up the UCM section, we also have this HA100. And I realize now I put this up, I'm not actually sure if I checked to see if this is available from Microcom, but I guess it's good to mention anyway. This is a high availability controller, allows you to connect two UCM 6510s together through this device. They don't have to be in the same location, that can be connected through the internet or whatnot. And these devices essentially give you a failover solution to automatically switch over everything to the secondary UCM 6510 if the main one loses connection for any reason. All right, we're getting there. We actually are making fairly decent progress here. So now I'm going to kind of go through our gateways and our ATAs, which is really a very strong product portfolio for us. So let's start out here with the HT series of ATAs. And I have them all here on the screen kind of differentiated so that you can figure that or really get an idea of kind of how the models differentiate. The HT800 series is just the newer series of analog telephone adapters that we have. We are, again, through a variety of independent research, Grandstream is the leading manufacturer of analog telephone adapters in the world. And from what we see, it's been this case for 4 or 5 years, essentially since Cisco got out of this space altogether. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 HT800 series models that you see here, they all pretty much, as you can see, will really just differentiate based off of the ports that they offer right there at the top. So let's just go through it. The HT801, one FXS port, 1 gigabit port. The H2, basically that last number there in the model series, just like the UCMs, are going to tell you how many either FXS, going to tell you how many FXS ports it has, except for the HT813, which is kind of a hybrid model, which is why we gave it the 13. It actually has 1 FXS port and 1 FXO port. So if you're looking for kind of a hybrid model, the HT813 is what you want. The rest of the devices here are all going to focus mainly on the FXO port. So HT801, 1 FXO port, all the way up to the HT818, which is going to give you 8 FXS ports, not FXO ports. The network interfaces also differ. The 801 and 802, just one standard 100 megabit per second port. The HT812, 814, and 818, and it looks like for whatever reason that information isn't showing up here. So the 12, the 14, and the 18 all have gigabit ports. That's kind of the thing that really differentiates them. And the 813, which is the hybrid model, just gives you 2 standard 100 megabit per second ports. See if there's anything else that I should mention here. All of them are going to give you 2 SIP profiles. Lifeline support down at the bottom. That is something that actually applies to every Grandstream product. So every one of our products, but I like to point it out with the gateways and the ATAs, have what we like to call man, it's killing me that I forget exactly what we call it, but basically what it gives you the ability to build in Lifeline support, so that secondary SIP server, that's what I was looking for. So if basically all of these devices, every Grandstream product within the user interface obviously gives you the ability to program a kind of a main SIP server, main SIP connection, but it also has a spot for a secondary one, which the device will switch over to if it loses connection automatically. So that's a great feature to mention. specifically on the ATAs and gateways, but it is actually available on all Grandstream products. Yeah, so ATAs, you know, I guess anymore, pretty much a fairly simple, streamlined device. I apologize. Look, I'm not quite sure what happened here with my PowerPoint. It looks like there are some things missing from some of these fields. I will send the actual PDF copy over with all the information filled out to Julie afterwards. All right, so that was our HT series of ATAs. Let's move over to the gateways. And currently we have kind of two different series here that we focus on, that we provide. The 4100 series, which are going to give you, basically these are either lower density or higher density. The 4100 series has either 4 or 8 FXO ports built into it, whereas the 4200 series are more high density models, giving you 16, 24, 32, or 48 ports. The other difference with the 4200 series, as you see in the network interfaces, is they offer gigabit speeds, whereas the 4100 series, which is actually a little bit of an older model for us, it's probably been out for 7 or 8 years now, works on your standard 10, 100 megabit per second ports. That's pretty much the main thing to kind of keep into to understand there is 4200 high density, gigabit speeds, more ports, 4100 series, either 4 or 8 ports, and your standard 10, 100 speeds. All right, DECT solutions is where we're at now, and this I am going to kind of go through real fast because, as you'll see, this is our existing DECT solution. We're actually, what I'm going to talk about in just a moment is we're coming out with an entirely new series of higher end DECT models. So as I begin to explain these, the way that I would think about our current series of DECT phones is that they're more along the lines of your kind of basic standard, we'll call it cost-effective DECT solution, whereas the new solution, which I'll highlight for you, actually gives you quite an enhancement in terms of range. It is a more sturdy device, gives you a lot more features, things like push to talk. And again, we'll get to that in a second. So here is our original series, which has been out, I believe, for probably about 3 or 4 years now. It's the DP750 base station and the DP720 handset. You can pair up to 5 handsets per base station, gets 5 concurrent calls per system, up to 10 SIP accounts between these 5 handsets. Gives you, for those of you familiar with it, the ring group, hunt group, all of that kind of functionality to allow these to ring in different ways or different orders depending on how you want to set that up. So the 750, again, is the base station, up to 10 SIP accounts, works with up to 5 of our DP720 handsets, has PoE built into it. Supports a range of up to 300 meters outdoors and 50 meters indoors. And now we'll move the 720, which is the handset that goes along with it. It gives you a smaller color screen operating systems. Each handset supports up to 10 lines, 10 SIP accounts, HD audio, built-in headset jack, speakerphone, 20-hour talk time. And again, you saw on the last slide, 300-meter range indoors, or 300-meter range outdoors, 50-meter range indoors. We also have the DP760, which you see here. This is a repeater that works with the base station that I just showed you. It essentially allows you to double the range of the DP750 base station by strategically placing it, and this device essentially will pair with the base station to extend the range an additional 300 meters or 50 meters indoors. So the easy way I like to describe it is this repeater allows you to essentially double the range of a DP750. And as I mentioned, I'll come back in just a moment to talk about some of the new high-end DECT solutions that you'll see from us soon. All right, so now beginning to wrap up here, mobility solutions. We're going to talk about our Wi-Fi IP phone and our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points. I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker than I usually would, just because I know we've touched on this in the last couple of webinars, and we're getting a little short on time here. So our WPA20 is easily probably the most sought after, anticipated product that we have released here at Grandstream in a very long time. It is our first ever cordless Wi-Fi IP phone. You see some of the specs that are built onto it. built into it. Some of the things that I'll call out here has a built-in panic button, built-in accelerometer, which is actually what allows you basically think about on some of your cell phones how you're able to flip them over and have it light up or whatnot. That would be an accelerometer. The other thing with the accelerometer is it allows you to program something like a panic. So if the device senses that it was dropped or that it fell, that it can trigger a panic call. Just one of the examples. The device actually, and I'm not a huge fan, honestly, from the marketing side of talking about this, but this device was built using Android. It's not an open Android like we have on our other devices, but what it does theoretically allow you to do is to create your own Android apps to run on this phone. And one thing I'll mention now is throughout, probably towards the end of this year, you're going to see us come out with a new higher end model than this. It's going to be a ruggedized version with a barcode scanner and whatnot built into it, and actually even a lower end, more basic option. So the way that this device will fit into our cordless Wi-Fi IP phone portfolio, it's kind of your standard model, your mid-range, right in the middle. So yeah, it's the WPA20, our first Wi-Fi IP phone. It has been flying off the shelves. Quite honestly, the thing that we're beginning to see, and you'll see this a little bit more as I move through some of this mobility stuff, you know, we're hearing from a lot of service providers and a lot of, I guess service providers and platform providers around the world that they're really intrigued with and very seriously considering looking at Wi-Fi voice for mobility solutions. We're seeing essentially there's been a number of events that we've been at over the last couple of months where we're promoting this whole portfolio of Wi-Fi mobility devices. We have the access points, some of the additional phones we're coming out with, some of the current phones in our portfolio that support Wi-Fi. And essentially there's really nobody else in the industry that is focusing on these Wi-Fi voice solutions, and we're getting a lot of interest. It really is, and I'll touch on this in a moment. There are so many advantages to using Wi-Fi to get out your voice connection within an office or any setting, and I'll get back to that in a second. So there's a lot of interest on this whole Wi-Fi voice side. So these devices that you see here, again, we've touched on these in the past, our GWN series of Wi-Fi access points and router. These are, full enterprise grade Wi-Fi access points. Some of the best things about these devices are the built-in controllers that they offer. Any of our access points can actually give you the ability to manage control entire networks of other Grandstream access points. We also offer a free cloud platform, GWN Cloud, again, fully free, that allows you to have a centralized cloud platform for free, again, to manage any of these Grandstream access points. It's got a variety. The 3 different access points touch on a variety of different needs. The 7600 LR, it's weatherproof. It's also long range, so it'll give you up to 400 meters. The 7610 and the 7600 are probably your traditional indoor access points. The 7610 is going to give you support for a little bit less clients, but it's going to give you faster speeds, whereas the 7600 will support a lot more clients, up to 450, but slightly slower speeds. So the way I break it down, if you're interested in speed, 7610 is what you want. If you're interested in supporting a lot of users, but not too interested in guaranteeing speeds, which is pretty common in hotels and convention centers and areas like that, then the 7600 is what you want. And what I will throw up here are some of the things that we've touched on, devices we've touched on already, some that we haven't, that kind of fall into our entire Wi-Fi voice solution. And the one thing I should mention going back here, these are full enterprise grade Wi-Fi access points. They will give you everything you need for any Wi-Fi network, in any office, high range, fast speeds, whatnot. I'm certainly kind of, wrapping them in here to our Wi-Fi voice, and that's just kind of one of the solutions that we focused on. But these devices are standalone, great Wi-Fi access points that will work in any office for any Wi-Fi network at all. I'm just also here relating them to kind of give them a solution feel that and kind of bring it around to what our business, core of our business is this whole Wi-Fi voice and video. I've written a lot of blogs that you can kind of check out on our website. This whole Wi-Fi voice and video thing is really beginning to catch on very quickly within the industry. Couple of advantages of it. A lot of businesses, the Wi-Fi infrastructure is already there. So it allows you to very easily add to your solution. It's going to run on the same network as the rest of your business communications, which essentially allows you to really streamline deployment and management. Adding a new IP phone is easy as dropping it on a desk and connecting it to Wi-Fi. Gives you unprecedented mobility, especially with the cordless devices. Take any of these anywhere within range of a Wi-Fi network and you can work from there. The whole wireless office thing, which I think a lot of people have we're slowly beginning to catch on to. It's becoming a major point of a lot of companies' corporate social responsibility stance is to cut back on waste, cut back on infrastructure, build these very streamlined wireless offices. And we are, beginning to really help a lot of companies and a lot of resellers and service providers around the world deliver these types of services to their customers. So other Grandstream Wi-Fi capable devices, the GXV, it says 3200 series, but all of our GXV Android IP video phones. We have a wireless version of our 1760, the mid-range IP phone I showed you earlier, that has a Wi-Fi chip built into it. Our GAC 2500, which I'll show you in a second, that is our Android conference audio phone, has Android built into it, as well as running Grandstream Wave, which is our free soft phone app for Android and iOS, running that on any mobile device and simply connecting through Wi-Fi. So a lot of different options there. And you're actually going to see more than just new cordless Wi-Fi phones. Throughout the course of the year, you'll see some new desktop Wi-Fi IP phones from us also. Mentioned GWN Cloud before. I'm going to skip through this real fast. This is just our free cloud management platform for our GWN series of wireless access or of Wi-Fi access points. Again, it's free, and there is actually no limit to the amount of APs that you can use with it. All right, conferencing solutions, and then we'll get to the new products for a moment or two, and then we'll be done. So we're getting there. So conferencing solutions, going to focus here on our GVC 3210. The way that I like to describe this device is the same way I'll describe our next device, our conference speakerphone. And I guess kind of the way that the video phones work, you're kind of beginning to see our whole conferencing and video communications line is all based on Android, all open Android. And what that allows you to do, especially here, between this device's ability to support a SIP platform, to work with any Android app, and then to also just be a SIP device, is it works however a business needs. It's got the Android built in, so you can make and receive conferences or calls with this device through Android with anyone running Android app on any device. I mentioned SIP. Just like all of our other GVC series devices, these will support any SIP platform. Any SIP video conferencing platform, you essentially just add this device as an endpoint. So if you have an existing platform you're using and you don't want to spend the 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 grand it costs to buy a new Cisco or Polycom camera, you can buy this one, which offers you 4K, all the Android stuff I talked about. It's got built-in Wi-Fi, and it retails for under $1,000. This is an MSRP of $999. It has speaker and microphone built right onto the face of the device, so you don't need anything else. Again, 4K, SIP, Android, Wi-Fi, even has built-in Bluetooth. Really a great device. Sub $1,000 price point. GAC 2500, this is our Android conference phone, which has been out on the market now for probably about 4 years, if I'd guess, somewhere between 3 and 4 years. Again, works however a business needs it to work. It has built-in Wi-Fi. It has a built-in 7-way conference bridge. Also has built-in 6 lines and is Android. So using that combination of features, you can take this device anywhere within a Wi-Fi connection and it'll work. It has a built-in conference bridge, so you don't need to rely on your platform or PBX having a conference bridge. It has Android, full open Android built in, so you can audio conference through Android apps, and also is a 6-line IP phone built right into it. So again, works however a business needs, can really be customized to work in a wide variety of different ways. Oh, I forgot about this. I guess, since we're on the video topic, the GXV3610, which I noticed in Microcom's web shop, this is all time one of it actually probably is the best-selling IP camera we've ever come out with. This is a weatherproof, vandal-proof, indoor-outdoor camera. It will work in any outdoor setting, regardless of temperature or weather or precipitation or whatnot. Also, just because of its very compact look and feel and the easy way that you can kind of direct it as you want, it is a great indoor camera as well. Gives you 3.6 millimeter lens, which is good for kind of mid-range, looking at something within 20 to 30 feet of the device. The one thing about our cameras that we certainly don't talk about them as much as we should here at Grandstream. Our cameras are built with the same SIP stack as our IP phones are. So essentially, when you see our cameras, you can think of them as IP phones. You're going to set them up. You're going to deploy them the same way that you really would an IP phone. And what that allows these devices to do is to, for example, make a call. If a motion is detected by this camera, it can make a call to a video phone, a Grandstream video phone, for example. You can actually see a live feed, pick up the phone, have a conversation with the person through the camera. You can also call these cameras at any point in time from a video phone to see their live feed, calling them from a voice phone. If you have it connected to a speaker, a microphone, or an intercom system, you'll actually be able to just call the camera's extension and talk through it as a mini intercom system there. And this device is available at both full HD 1080p resolution and 720p solution. All right, I'm gonna go really fast through here so we can finish up here with the new stuff. So free VoIP apps and software. Talked about Grandstream Wave, available for Android, iOS, free soft phone app. Definitely check it out. Again, free. It is one of the most comprehensive soft phone apps on the market, and it's free. It's available for both Android and iOS. We'll work with any SIP account. Doesn't have to be one registered to a Grandstream solution. Grandstream Affinity is our free computer telephony software. It allows you to basically have a desktop interface for any Grandstream IP phone, which I guess, so it doesn't support 1600 currently, supports 2100, 1700 series models. This is big for call centers and a lot of enterprises that want to be able to just receive calls, add to their contact book right from the desktop. Okay. Sorry, I took a little bit longer to get through all that than I had thought, but we'll wrap up here within the next moment or two. Just gonna tell you 2 new things, the next 2 new products to look out for from Grandstream. And I mentioned this earlier, an entire new generation of DECT solutions. So there's gonna be 3 models in this new solution. 732, which you see here, this is a high-end DECT cordless handset. It's DP722, which you see here. This is, we'll call it a mid-range DECT handset. And then you're going to have the DP752, which you see here, which is the base station for this series. You can read through some of the specs there. The thing that I'll mention, and it doesn't say it on here, these devices through our beta testing have achieved frankly ridiculous range in terms of how far the range of this device is. Quite a lot further than our previous series of DECT phones. We have actually, with the model that you see here, we have achieved up to 450 meters, close to 500-meter range outdoors. We're going to market it as, I believe, 400 meters, but we've actually found that it can achieve much more than that. And in case you're wondering, you kind of look at it, the look and feel of the actual model, it actually is the same physical device as the DP, or excuse me, as our Wi-Fi cordless IP phone. This is just a DECT phone. Built-in gesture controller, talked about the accelerometer before. They have push-to-talk built in, these new DECT phones, which is really going to be a big thing on these as well. New high-end, sleeker device, longer range, bigger screens, et cetera, et cetera. The 722, which is a little bit of a step down from the 732, I believe we're saying that this gets up to 350 meters, so even additional range from our 720, which is the handset we've had out for a couple of years now. So extended range, push to talk just like the other device. It's a little bit smaller screen. That's pretty much the main difference between these two devices, the 722 and the 732. Screen size, also the battery, you'll see on the 732 you get up to 40 hours talk time, and here on the 722 you get 20 hours. I'll go into a lot more details on these devices probably in our next webinar. The 752 that you see here will support the range that I mentioned on the other devices, up to 400 meters, which is an additional 100 meters from our previous DECT solutions, 50 outdoors, 50 meters indoors. Just to kind of point it out, and we're still shaking out the exact specs with this, but all of these products that you see here, these new DECT solutions, the two new handsets and the base station, will be compatible with our current DECT phones. And the current DECT phones, I guess it's mainly the base station on our current models will be compatible with the handset, the new handsets, and the current base station, the new handsets will be compatible with the current base station, if that makes sense. Last thing that you'll see from us, so those DECT phones are actually going through a beta test now. You'll probably see them officially launched within the next couple of weeks, actually. So probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, keep an eye out for that. The last thing that I'll leave you with here today, and I apologize for taking up more time than I thought I was going to take up. Seems like I'm recently not very good at estimating how long these things will take. But our first ever series of digital VoIP gateways you're going to see from us within the next couple of months. I would anticipate these being announced probably in early March timeframe. Again, our first ever digital VoIP gateways. See some of the specs here. Really, this is for if you're looking for E1, T1, J1 gateways, that's what this device is. We don't currently have a gateway in our portfolio that supports those. See the concurrent calls, the various digital signaling, PRI, SS7, MFCR2 that it supports. Has a built-in NAT router, multi-language voice prompts. Here you see information about, there are 3 different models within this. And again, it's basically that last number will tell you how many RJ45 ports it has. So the 4501 will give you 1 port, 30 concurrent calls, 4502, 2 ports, 60, 50, 4504, 4 ports, and 120 concurrent calls. So basically, this is pretty much the main deployment scenario. There's also a big service provider use for these, but it basically allows you to increase the amount of PSTN or ISD trunks that a company or a business has integrated with their VoIP network in order to increase their concurrent calls through those trunks. So you essentially attach or connect one end of it to your VoIP network and the other end to a traditional PBX or E1, T1 provider to add trunks to your VoIP network. All right, that's all I got. Apologize for going on a little bit, well, I guess a little bit, maybe about 15 minutes longer than I thought I had. Tend to get excited and start talking about extra features that probably could have glossed over, but I really do appreciate all of your time and patience with me here today. We covered a lot of stuff. I will absolutely make this available to Julie so that you guys can kind of circulate this and really access a lot of the information as you need to. And with that, I will turn it over to Julie. And I'll switch
Thank you
back.
very much, Phil, for that wonderful presentation. And don't worry about the timing. We enjoyed every bit of it. I do have some questions for you that maybe we can go through those quickly.
Absolutely.
First question here. Okay, terrific. First question here is, can you send us the comparison sheets for the GXP models?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Okay, next question. Also regarding the GXP model, would you recommend that this has a feature that plays music while you put someone on hold?
That would be a feature for our UCM series of IP PBXs, and it absolutely offers that music on hold. So you would do it actually through the PBX, but yeah, it would support that.
Excellent. Thank you. Next question here. Regarding the GXV 3000 series, you mentioned it runs on Android 7.0. Is it open to upgrades in the near future, and does it have any limitations on apps that you have found out so far?
Sure, that's a very good question. And to be completely honest with you, there is on the current models, they are not going to be able to be expanded to support a newer version of Android. So the 3275, 3240 run 4.2, the 3370, the new one that we just came out with, actually the main reason that we came out with it was that we had a lot of customers that wanted a newer version of Android. The hardware on the 3240, 3275, the chip wouldn't be able to support an extended version. So that's why we came out with the 3370. The new model we are working on that will probably pop up within the next 3 to 4 months, the 3380, the plan for that one is to be able to make it upgradable to new versions of Android as we go through a much more, we'll call it high-end comprehensive chipset. So more or less the current ones are not upgradable. They run the version they run. You can't upgrade them, unfortunately. In terms of the applications, I guess there hasn't been anything specific that I've come across. Certainly need to be aware of the memory on the device itself, and just like pretty much any smart device, the more if it's full, you're not going to be able to add more space to it, and it might not run as fast as it would otherwise. But I can't say any specific applications that I can think of off the top of my head that we've had any issues with. There were initially some issues with actually Skype for Business. And when I should be clear here, when I say Skype for Business on this device, I mean their Android app. I'm not saying I wish these devices were certified with Microsoft, but they're not. But we were actually able to, that was 3 or 4 years ago, we were able to fix that. So there's no specific app issues I'm aware of. Just beware of the memory of the phone itself.
Excellent. Thank you, Phil. Next question here for you. Is there a way to monitor, export all the calls taking place with the UCM 6200 series?
Absolutely. One of the built right into it is a whole, just to keep it simple, I'll call it a data module where you have the ability, and it tracks all the calls, and in real time, you have the ability to access that interface at any point in time to see that. You can also have the device that send you periodic reports based on activity and whatnot. So yeah, absolutely, that can be done.
Great, thank you. Next question here for you. Are there any compatibility issues with any routers, such as with Ubiquiti, Microtix, or Cisco with the GXW series?
I'm going to, just to keep that question broad, we have not, whether for any of our devices, whether they be our Wi-Fi access points or any of our endpoints that run on Wi-Fi, we have tested them with just about every major router that is out there. No, there are no zero concerns of compatibility between any of our Wi-Fi products, whether they be access points or endpoints, with any other manufacturer's routers.
Excellent, thank you. Next question here. Can you send us a map on how to properly configure a base station and the handset? The question is because this could be used for future reference and perhaps forwarded to customers.
Yeah, I will take a look at it. I'm taking notes down. I'll make sure to send this stuff over to you, Julie, with the copy of the PowerPoint. I would imagine we have something for that, and I will definitely take a look to find that. I'm sure that we do, so I will include that as well.
Excellent. Look forward to getting that from you, and then I can pass it on to our audience members.
Yeah, and actually, just off the top of my head, if you need this very quickly, I would imagine that if you go to any of the DECT phone pages on our website and click and go to the resource section for that it should be in there. There will be a page that pops up that has probably 20, 30, 40 different documents and technical and marketing resources. And I would imagine that a provisioning guide will be there. But I will also send that to you as well.
Excellent, so much. Thank you for that information. Next question, is there a limit of devices that can be added to the cloud?
No, there actually is no limit, believe it or not, which from the marketing side, I still kind of can't believe that. But yeah, no, there is no limit whatsoever, and there is no plans to ever put a limit on it. There was at one point in time, we had discussed 1,000+ access points would have a fee to it, but we have decided not to do that. So it is a fully free with no limit as to how many access points that you can manage with it.
Fantastic. So it's limitless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next question. Got a couple more here for you. From the UCM series IP PBX, can you connect a different access point for the whole application, or will there be compatibility issues?
No, that should work as well. I know that before we had our own access points, that's pretty much the connection or the deployment that we had set up within our own offices. So yeah, that definitely is possible. I can also look to see if there is any type of guide for that. I'm not sure if we do have one, but that is probably before we made our own Wi-Fi access points, that was exactly how we had our own offices set up.
Excellent. Last question here for you. Regarding the GVC 3210, how many FPSs can it support?
30 frame rates per second. And you'll actually see that I think the 3210 is the main one that you guys sell. But all of our GVC devices do support 30 frame rates per second.
Thank you, Phil, so much for answering all those questions for us, and thank you to everyone for attending today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. If you wish to view any of the products mentioned and shown here today, please also visit us at www.microcom.us. And please remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and it will be uploaded to our Microcom YouTube channel so you can view it again. Phil, thank you so much for your time. Love the presentation today and look forward to hearing from you and having future webinars with you as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye-bye for now.
See ya.